Do you realize the scale of China's hold over raw material production? Have you heard about the radical transformation the Biden administration plans for the U.S. battery supply chain? An audacious move that might just turn our economy on its head. Hello, viewers. In today's episode, we're taking you behind the scenes of an intriguing power play, the clash between America and China over battery raw material dominance. We'll decode President Biden's strategy to counter China's stronghold, delve into the prospect of an American battery revolution, and discuss the potential ripple effects on the U.S. economy. Get ready for a deep dive because this is about to get intense. So, you've probably heard about President Biden's recent comments about China's upper hand in raw material production. Basically, China is currently the big player in producing the raw materials we need for many things, like batteries for electric vehicles. President Biden wants to change that. He suggests we shift the battery supply chain back to the U.S., creating a battery belt from Michigan to Georgia. The thinking behind this is simple. If we can produce and recycle our own batteries, we won't have to rely so much on other countries, and it could strengthen our manufacturing. To help make this happen, the Department of Energy has announced a considerable investment of $3.16 billion. This money comes from the bipartisan infrastructure law. It will improve how we manufacture, process, and recycle lithium-ion batteries, which are used in EVs. However, this plan has yet to include mining or extraction of raw materials. The end goal here is ambitious. By 2030, Biden wants half of all cars sold in the U.S. to be electric. The government is also looking to increase domestic production of essential materials like lithium, cobalt, nickel, and graphite to support this. These are all critical ingredients in the batteries that power EVs. Imagine the U.S. as a growing hub for battery production. That's basically what the battery belt is. Since 2021, there have been several announcements about building big factories, also known as gigafactories, for producing lithium-ion batteries. It's like a new industrial revolution, with a potential investment of about $40 billion. The goal is to create a robust system within the U.S. for producing and supplying these batteries. Because more and more people are using electric cars and clean energy, the demand for these batteries is growing. So, by 2031, it's expected that the U.S. will be able to produce 86% more batteries than it can now. However, it's more challenging than it sounds. The U.S. needs a robust system for getting lithium. This could impact our economy and national security. Even with laws like the Inflation Reduction Act of 2022, the U.S. faces hard competition from China. China controls a lot of the supply chain for essential minerals and is currently leading in the capacity to produce batteries. So the U.S. has some catching up to do. The United States could, in theory, produce enough of these materials at home to meet the growing demand for EVs. But it's more complex than it sounds. Currently, the U.S. only produces about 1% of the world's lithium, all from just one place in Nevada. Besides lithium, these batteries also need other essential minerals like cobalt, manganese, nickel, and graphite. Here's where we run into a problem. We need help getting these minerals. China currently leads the world in processing these crucial materials needed for making EVs. The U.S. government is investing in potential domestic lithium production to tackle these challenges. They're also negotiating agreements with other countries to get more access to these critical minerals. It's like playing a strategic board game, trying to secure all the necessary resources to win, or in this case, to power our electric vehicles. The U.S. government is putting in $3.16 billion from the bipartisan infrastructure law. This money will be spread out across different parts of the battery supply chain. This includes processing materials, manufacturing them, recycling old ones, and securing critical minerals. Most of this investment, about $2.8 billion, will support new and existing operations that produce battery materials, components of battery cells, and recycling of batteries. Also, a good chunk of the investment will be used to create a brand new refinery for extracting and separating rare earth elements and critical minerals. It's like building a new kitchen to ensure we have all the ingredients we need to bake a complex cake. In this case, the batteries for electric vehicles and other technologies. So you know how in team sports, when you're up against a powerful opponent, it can help to form alliances with other teams. The U.S. is doing that to counter China's leading role in the global supply chain, especially for things like critical minerals used in batteries. In June 2022, the U.S. and its G7 partners, some of the world's biggest economies, launched the Partnership for Global Infrastructure and Investment, or PGIY. This partnership is about creating supply chains for clean energy and setting up the Mineral Security Partnership. The goal is to produce better, process, and recycle critical minerals. The U.S. is also teaming up with Japan on a critical minerals agreement. The idea here is to diversify or spread out key supply chains, which makes sense in case one source doesn't work out. On top of that, the U.S. is working with the Five Eyes Intelligence Alliance, which includes the UK, Australia, Canada, and New Zealand. They're developing strategies to compete with China when it comes to new technologies. So it's a global team effort to ensure we have what we need for our high-tech future. Alright, So let's talk about why it's so crucial for the US to have its system for making batteries. If we don't, there could be several problems. First, we'd have supply chain vulnerabilities. This means that if something in another country disrupts their ability to send us the materials we need, we could end up without enough batteries. Second, there are national security concerns. If we're too dependent on other countries for these critical materials, it could put us at a disadvantage in certain situations. Next, there's the risk of losing economic competitiveness. As more and more people start using renewable energy and electric vehicles, the demand for lithium batteries will shoot up. If we can't make enough of these batteries, we might lose out on a big piece of the global market. We also don't want to be too dependent on foreign sources. This could lead to supply disruptions, price changes, and geopolitical risks, like tensions or conflicts with other countries. Lastly, there are environmental and social concerns. We need to ensure that the materials for these batteries are sourced and processed in a sustainable and fair way. So to avoid these risks, the US needs to ramp up domestic production of lithium, negotiate access to critical minerals with other countries, and strengthen its battery production and supply chain. These efforts are vital to the Biden administration's Battery Belt Initiative. They will play a significant role in how successful it is. Okay, so you know how China controls much of the production of raw materials needed for batteries. This has some significant effects on the whole world, but there's a plan in the US called the Battery Belt, which could offer an alternative. There are significant challenges to consider. First, we need to ensure we have enough lithium and other essential minerals. Second, we must build up our ability to manufacture batteries. These batteries need to be able to compete with those from other countries. But on the bright side, it's also a great opportunity. The US can create a whole new industry around recycling batteries, encourage research into different battery technologies, and work with other countries to access more mineral supply chains. Whether these plans become a reality will depend on many factors, like political decisions, regulations, and how much funding is available. But the possible benefits are exciting. We could create new jobs, rely less on foreign materials, and spur innovation in clean energy. That's it for now. If you found this information helpful, give a thumbs up and subscribe for more exciting discussions about supply chain topics. Until next time.